Hello, lovely people. This is a wee bit of musical forensics here I want to share with you. All my own opinion, might be wrong, might be right. I'll leave that up to you to decide. But I'm not suggesting in any way here that Paul McCartney was plagiarizing anything in the writing of Hey Jude. Hey Jude's like an incredibly inspired song, and Paul McCartney's at the height of his powers. But what I do want to suggest here is that songwriters, especially sponge-like intelligent songwriters like Paul McCartney and John Lennon, they're taking in everything that's around them, and they're soaking up, as Rick would say, high information music is going in the ear, and they're really subconsciously recording it. And so let's have a wee look at the piece that I'm talking about. It's a very famous keyboard concerto by Bach. It's a keyboard concerto in F minor, but the little slow movement in the middle, I think it's called a largo. It's F major, the same key as Hey Jude. And I'll just play kind of the melody, how I hear it by ear. It's something like this. So we can hear already that we are in the same key. Hey Jude, Bach, keyboard concerto, slow movement, F major. Now F major is not by any means a unusual key for piano composing. When you go into the circle of fourths, on the others, us guitarists usually stay in the circle of fifths. We're kind of sharp key people, just to do with the open strings and what makes it easy keys to play in. But in the piano, you can go one right, just clockwise, say, in the circle of fifths, and you'll be in G major, one sharp. If you go in the opposite direction in the circle of fourths, you'll be in F major, so it's just one flat, there's just a B flat. So F major may be an awkward guitar key, but it's not. It's a very comfortable piano key. I've written piano songs in F, So that's one, let's write that down as a coincidence, right? And then let's look at the tempo too. Maybe I'll play it again, and then I'll play just Hey Jude, kind of the idea from memory. So the Bach thing goes like this. Okay, and then we have Hey Jude. Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Right, so let's look a little bit further into this issue. So we have basically the same key, and we have exactly the same type of typical tempo, right? Bum 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 bum. Hey Jude, don't make it bad, right? Then let's look at the pitch set. Now, if someone was transcribing something, or half-inching it, as they'd say in Belfast, pinching it, stealing it, if they're going to half-inch a melody, they'd probably do it more, on the nose, or if they were doing it, even unwittingly stealing it, but this has been processed, I believe, a little bit through Paul McCartney's amazing hard drive. So if we have a little look at the kind of the pitch set, the set of notes that are involved, and the curvature of it, and the direction, I think we'll see quite clearly that this piece of music was perhaps floating around in Paul McCartney's significant brain. So if we hear the Bach thing, it kind of starts on the third, right? and that's a little bit different than Hey Jude. But Hey Jude starts with hey as a pickup note, very pronounced pickup note. In fact, I think when they play it, he just kind of sings it, Hey Jude, and then he goes right into the downbeat with the chord. So essentially it's the same note, Hey Jude, right? Now let's look at the next little part. We have to kind of break it down bit by bit. The Bach piece, it definitely goes up to the same D. Hey Jude, don't make it bad. But you see how it goes basically on the same arc. Hey Jude, don't make it bad. And then the Bach goes. Right? And then if we look at the next part, this is where it gets a wee bit fuzzy, because Bach is kind of dealing in these cycles of inversions and quite complicated harmonies, even though, in his music, with the rule of the octave and stuff, it's very run-of-the-mill, but for a pop song, this would maybe be a wee bit complex to process in your ear and record it very accurately. So, so the Bach goes. So it just kind of goes down to the 6th chord, and then it has kind of an inverted B flat, inverted 4 chord, possibly kind of seen partially as a 2 chord as well, setting up the dominant C7. So just me even trying to run through that, it gets a little bit complicated because Bach's working in lines, simple lines, intertwining. So with Paul McCartney, he's hearing just the general idea, right? His musical brain is picking up, and then some kind of dominant function. It's some kind of C7, which is what Bach is doing as well. Bach is kind of going down. Chord, then the dominant chord. But perhaps in Paul McCartney's sleeping world, he's hearing just this dominant function, which is the dominant function. That's the one that sticks out to you. So he's kind of like bypassing a lot of the fancy middle stuff. And the reason why I would argue that this is the case is that the note that he says sad song is perhaps the most beautiful part of the whole melody. Now, why is that the most beautiful part? It's because it's completely bizarre, and there's no way that you would naturally sing an F, a tonic note, over a dominant chord, right? Even if you knew it was like an appoggiatura or a suspension or something. Take a sad song and make... It's so beautiful because it's like this very aching note that doesn't belong. And he does it on the word song as well. So we see this arc in the Bach piece too. So it goes, the Bach piece goes... That song. Do you hear that? It has that leap, right? It has a very similar curvature. It's hitting all of the pitch areas that are functional and that matter. And it's going right up, and that's like the highest note. Da dee da da dee da da. So that's kind of, so far that's what's sticking in Paul McCartney's kind of musical architecture, his scaffolding. The more we develop our musical brains, we develop this kind of scaffolding. We develop little ladders. We develop relative pitch. We develop a sense of harmony in regards to melody. And so I believe Paul McCartney was hearing that leap. And then when he was just coming into the place where he was singing, he's singing this very honest song. It's in a sense kind of a breakup letter with John, you know. It's he's just so full. His emotions, his soul, his spirit is in the driver's seat, and it's just coming out a version of what had been there in the previously recorded Bach piece that was maybe floating around in the air. I mean, he lived in London at the time, a place, a real centre of culture. Paul McCartney was interested in classical concerts, you know. He'd be hanging out with all kinds of artists in the avant-garde world, you know. We think of him somehow as maybe the less artsy Beatle, but he was actually probably the most artsy Beatle at the time. So he was very, very, and he was very attuned to music going on. I mean, there's video of him kind of figuring out the Samuel Barber famous Adagio by ear, you know. Some people think that Blackbird is maybe related to like a Bach piece as well, the famous Bach Beret that he was kind of inspired by. And so I just have this kind of sense that this was the piece that was going on at the time that stuck in Paul McCartney's head. So let's just listen to them back to back one more time. So the Bach thing would go. Yeah, it goes to a different key. Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Okay, so how about we listen to those things yourself? I'll put a link to the famous Bach piece underneath, and you can have a wee listen to it. Listen to Hey Jude. You know, I might be totally wrong too. Doesn't matter. But this is just what my sense is, and this is my sense as a songwriter too, because a lot of times I'll hear things and it'll kind of something will come out in a song that's related to something I've been listening to subconsciously. You know, there's even a famous wee story about Chris Martin going to his bandmates and getting really excited, be like, "Oh, I wrote this new song. Check it out." And then he realized for the last hour and a half he had been writing Big Bottom by Spinal Tap, which is pretty funny. But the other thing I was going to say is that this is very much a great reason for you as a songwriter to allow yourself to listen to complex music. It doesn't have to be unpleasant music. It can be very beautiful music. You can put on a little Bach playlist, a little Mozart, a little Baroque thing. It's just full of like real musical relationships, the mathematics of music, just the kind of the goings on of dominant tonic relationships, these kind of leaps and steps, and it's going to be filling you up with melodic food and harmonic food, and it's kind of a little bit like you are what you eat, you know. And I'll do some more songs like this in the future where I think that there's influence from other places that are kind of abstract influences. So all the more reason to listen to, even while you're going to sleep, put on there's even like classical playlists and stuff that are chilled out, you know, for sleeping. Put stuff on, you know, get it into your subconscious, even if you're not a big classical music person. Get it going in your head, You know, play it while you're at work. Play some stuff while you're doing a paper for school. It's known to get your brain working on a higher level too. So what you put in will eventually come out, you know. So always put good stuff in your brain, and you may write the next Hey Jude. Alright, toodaloo. Let me know what you think in the comments. Yay or nay.